Hello and welcome to Access Astrology. We are three astrologers who love watching how astrology unfolds in our daily lives, in the news, in our metaphysical search, in our relationships. This is Heather Rowan Robbins, and I'm speaking to you tonight from Ronan, Montana, and I'm joined by Mark.
Mark Waltz, New York City, saying hello.
And we hope to be joined by Ann Ortley, but I knew that she's living in Florida at the moment, came up to New York for a quick overnight and went back, and she may be mid change. The weather here is pretty wild. It's gotten cold, and we're expecting 40% more snow this year than we have in the last couple of years. It's been good. It'll help keep down fire season next year, but I might have to actually get snow tires after all. So, yeah. And, so the time Mercury turned direct, Saturn turned direct right on Thanksgiving, and the energy was really ready to hit the ground running yesterday. So today we have the moon is now in Taurus, Sagittarius, Sun, Venus in Sagittarius, Mercury is retrograde, but um, back in Scorpio. I think that Anne's coming online. Don't see her yet. There she is. Hello, Anne.
I'm
Hello,
here.
Gang's all
Ann.
Hi, I'm
here.
here. We're gang's all
Wonderful.
here. Yep. Yep.
And y-
Okay.
and you made it back from your quick trip to New York and back again.
Went up yesterday, had dinner with went to the doctor, had dinner with a friend, and then came back today. Yeah. It's like, that I had the cataract surgery, so they wanted you back for a follow up. And I thought, I don't want to stay in New York, for a month. I wanna go
Just pop
go
in.
go and come back. So, when you buy
Ex-
the ticket in advance, it's pretty good. You get it.
Excellent.
And I use some points too, so
Excellent.
it was
Sounds
very
worthy.
cheap.
And sounds
But
like you had a
went out for
lovely
dinner.
Thanksgiving. Hmm.
Oh, Thanksgiving was fabulous. We had 40 pounds of turkey and a baked ham and 33 people, so everybody got leftovers and I brought it and I made Sunday I made a delicious turkey pot pie. When I used to cook Thanksgiving in New York, people would go, "Can I come on Sunday for the pot pie too?" I'm like, "Totally." Because it's the silver palette pot pie and it is so good. It's a
Oh,
cream sauce with a little rosemary and thyme in it
uh,
and carrots and pearl onions and delicious. Well,
delicious things.
yeah, so
Uh,
it was, and I don't use their crust. I use those big juicy biscuits I put on top. So that's the
oh
crust.
yeah.
Very tasty.
well, that sounds lovely.
Yeah. So I'm
And
I'm
my stomach is saying,
New York and
go ahead.
Florida. Yeah.
New
Yeah.
York
No,
and
New York
Florida.
and Florida. So,
My
yeah.
stomach is
For those of you who want to
screaming
see it, I
for
posted it on
just
Facebook with
vegetables.
my cousin. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, your dinner looked lovely.
It was
And this is
delicious.
tonight, and we're kind of hit the ground running. Yesterday, you
Hmm.
ran up to New York and back suddenly with Saturn direct, Mercury direct. The
So
energy
nice.
was really kicking in, and Mercury is backing into that grand trine with Jupiter,
Hmm.
Saturn, and Neptune. And Saturn is direct. Jupiter and
Neptune.
Neptune are still retrograde. Neptune goes direct at the end of the next week. And we'll see, I think, a sudden waking up of people, which will be really interesting. So
Mm.
Mercury is backing up. It's already hit all of these points already, but it's going to come back to oppose
Two
Uranus
times.
after that grand trine,
Third time.
third time.
Yeah.
And
Sets off
it
the
is
kite too. Sets off the kite.
that opposition with the grand trine, and which looks just like
Hmm.
a kite. And uh,
It does.
and
Like you
what
can see it. Well, it's a little the orb here with the Uranus and the Jupiter aren't showing a kite there, but there is that. It's only 4 degrees apart, so that's a
right.
weird orb that's
Yeah.
not
It
showing it.
is
But
definitely. Now, I normally think when there is the bow and arrow, I think of that like a kite, but also like a bow and arrow, and that
mhm,
this is really taking off. How do you
right.
see it? That this opposition gets a lot of power because of that. How do
Well,
you handle
Mercury.
kites?
I love kites because I find they
Mhm.
drive. They like if you've ever flown one and they do the little tippy thing and then they go zipping down and then they go way up and then they fly. So the point of the kite is the Neptune Saturn Jupiter trine, Mercury trine. So Mercury's coming into it. Moon's going to trigger Mercury tomorrow. But
Mhm.
Moon's also going to come to join Uranus, which is kind of a quiet planet. He's just kind of hanging out there. But when somebody dings him, he goes, "Oh!" So tomorrow he's going to have a wake up call because the moon goes void, hits Neptune, and then goes void with a sextile sextile to Pisces. So the kite's flying tomorrow, and we've seen a lot of that Mercury. All the secrets that are coming out. Like and Scorpio secrets about killing people and all that stuff. So we'll watch more stuff gets revealed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
your ghosts are talking. The ghosts are talking really literally.
And on relationships, I'm seeing that Mars Juno conjunction, and
Mm-hmm.
that there is that in some relationships that's great. One person's taking a trip, the other one's not, or they're kind of giving each other freedom. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also seeing some like comments over as Mercury turned direct and Saturn turned direct. People were speaking like, and frankly, what I haven't told you is how much I hate when you cook this or do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like honesty that's causing tension in relationships, which can be a
Yeah.
Juno issue. So
Right.
just be careful, be honest, but be honest with a kind heart this week. And we're going to feel that even more as Mercury goes through that, hits off all those points in its last run through Scorpio and then heads into Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Try to use with the Mercury. Try to use that grand trine. It's water signs. It's
Mm-hmm.
emotional, and it has you able to feel what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
and don't take it personally if people are restless with both Venus and Mars in Sagittarius at the moment. Anne?
Well, the Mars is out of bounds too. Remembering that Vesta and Mars are both out of bounds. So Mars out of bounds with in Sag tends to make him a little bossy, and he's forming a quincunx. It isn't in orb yet, but he will be quincunxing the Jupiter in
Mm-hmm.
Cancer, and he answers to the Jupiter in Cancer. So this is those times when you say something or when someone says something to you that can really hurt your feelings, because Mars is out of bounds and he's just saying it. And he doesn't care if your feelings are hurt. And he's forming a finger of God with the Jupiter and then with the Uranus. He's out of orbit the Uranus. But these are the kind of things when people say them and you go, all right, I'm not talking to you again.
Right.
So you
And
want to cut.
this
So if somebody
and
gets mad at you, yeah.
that grand trine in water signs can
Mm-hmm.
go, I'm going to mad at you, but I'm not telling you. I'm just going to go
Mm-hmm.
sulk. So I think it's really important not to go sulk, not to Scorpio
Yeah.
Mercury, but
Mm-hmm.
to kind of like, what did you say? Did you just say what I thought you meant? You know, and
Yeah.
come get back in there and make sure that if you walk off, that you walk off because you heard them right.
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 Because there's still a lot of stuff that's just kind of the gutters are clearing and some of the
Mm-hmm.
clogs of November.
And the Mercury in Scorpio is answering to that Mars out of bounds, right? So
Hmm.
I had a friend who was a while back. It was before astrology, but when I looked at the chart, because I kept track of things back then, and he was fighting to save his marriage, and his wife said to him, "I only married you because my father hated you," and that was it for
Ooh,
him. That he was done. Then he was like, "Okay,
yeah,
that's it. That's why you married me." And she was like, "Yes." Now, in the heat of a battle, sometimes you say mean things, but that made him click off. And that's the energy.
absolutely.
That's the energy we have in the sky. Click off.
Hmm.
They said it, and you go,
Hmm.
"Wow, I never saw it like that." And a lot of people, I've clients, people reporting, I just had a aha moment. I just realized, whatever. And realizations are big, and there's a little part of me that goes, "You didn't realize that before?"
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I.
that's what it's like when it goes in. Like people
Hmm.
say things. Like I had a friend who was very moochy, was a roommate actually, and she didn't have any money. She was in school, and I was making a whole $200 a week. I mean, not a lot of money, but I'd say, "You want to go out?" She goes, "I don't have any money." I'd go, "I'll treat." It drove one of my friends crazy, and so she goes, "You're always treating her. She's always smoking." Back then, I smoked. She's always smoking your cigarettes. Did she ever buy you a replacement pack? And I'm like, "Actually, no." And I heard her, but I also was like, she doesn't have any money, and I have money, and I don't really feel like I want to leave her home, because I'm going out with people. I want to invite her. And then she did something, and I went, wow, wow, wow. Regina was right. Reg was right, and I heard it. I mean, she told it to me. I'd heard it. I acknowledged it. I explained why I did what I did. And then that moment that the cigarette borrower and the person who let me take it, the minute she said something, I went, wow, Regis tried, like I am being used. And of course, when you're giving somebody or you're helping somebody or you're doing, there's a part of you that kind of goes, well, yeah, and you kind of a little dismissive of it. At least I am. And then I was like, wow, okay, I see it now. And it
Mhm.
clicked. It just clicked.
Right.
It
And
really,
and this week, listen to what people tell you.
yeah.
Because,
Hmm.
during this week, and because I think we'll be getting a lot of information coming out, the difference between what they say and what they do.
Hmm.
Notice that what they're telling you, both with their words and with their actions. See
Hmm.
where they don't meet, ask them about it, and then make decisions with a clearer image of what's going on.
Right. Because
Yeah.
Mercury's in the blind spot of the Mars.
Hmm.
He's in the blind spot of Mars. So he's in Mars's 12th house. So Mars doesn't get Mercury. Yeah.
So I wanted to look at, speaking of people not so honest and
Hmm.
information coming out, Pete Hegseth's chart, because he's so clearly um, an illusion of machismo rather than actually someone with macho strength. And listening to him and Mark Kelly talk has been pretty amazing. But you have someone born at sunset, so it's always about the sun in the seventh house, which tends to give their power away or look to somebody else for self definition. Sag rising, but Neptune in the first house, which can be a wonderful actor. It could be, a natural politician if they want to please people. It tends to have um, an illusion of a public image. You can see that at the top of his chart, he has Mars in Virgo conjunct Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto. So his what he thinks he should be in the world is Mars, Saturn, and Pluto, an authority and being a big tough guy. But really, he's a moon in Pisces. And when we looked at his trifeel right now, one of the things that's interesting that I was watching his moon in Scorpio through the 12th house, just as he's pulling all this secret angry stuff. I saw that his moon in Pisces has, Saturn and Neptune sitting right on his moon, so he's in trouble down in the water.
Hmm.
Um,
Really.
uh, yeah, and his natal moon squares Venus, and Venus is conjunct Vesta. It looks like he has a deep-seated hatred or anger at women and at his feminine side, and he's worked really hard to stamp it out. But he's a moon in Pisces, and he has Venus conjunct Vesta, and it's really like, he's really trying to be somebody he's not, and they are often the most dangerous.
Hmm.
So what do you see with that chart?
Well, I'm also noticing his progressed Venus has gone direct and is opposite the Neptune right now.
Mhm,
So that's
mhm,
that's
mhm.
getting
Right
activated
opposite.
right
Mhm.
opposite. And of course, the eclipses because he ordered the Venezuelan boat thing like the 2nd or 3rd of September, and there was the full moon eclipse in at 15 Virgo in his third and ninth house,
Right between his Mars and Saturn.
right between his Mars and his Saturn, actually on their midpoint,
On
and
the ninth house, which is other countries.
other countries, and kill them all. And
Hmm.
it's kind of he's got a crappy Jupiter, even though Jupiter's in a nice house. Jupiter in Virgo is not always what's the right word for it? And it rules his ascendant, and it rules his moon, right? So
Hmm.
that's the sensitivity to criticism. But that also his progressed Venus is now direct after having been retrograde, and his Mercury is retrograde in Cancer, which is answering to the Scorpio Mars. So it's not always. And when Moon was on that Uranus Mercury, and notice transiting Mercury is on that Uranus right now. We're finding out who gave the orders, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
so these are really hard transits. I have to say one of the things I don't like is a lot of times like there's people that are really evil and dark and they have a Pisces moon and I have a
Hmm.
Pisces moon and I'm always like how can they have a Pisces moon and be mean like that?
Hmm.
But I think your point about the women not liking women, the moon square the Venus, and of course he's on his third wife, who's the Venus wife. She rules the 11th house, who follows him around, and he cheated on
Mm.
both wives one and two, and
Venus and Gemini
Venus and
tends
Gemini
to love more than one person.
opposite
I
the
and
Neptune.
and I find that the moon in Pisces, when they are hurt early, shut down and deny their sensitivity.
Yeah.
because then they'd have to feel it.
Yeah.
And, that one of their healing levels is coming back to see, avoiding guilt, not, I don't feel it, really cutting all of that off until
Mhm.
they can process it. Once they process to let it in what they've done and forgive themselves, then they start on a better track.
Right.
But it can be, I don't see that happening anytime soon here.
No, and he has
Well,
Mars square Saturn in the sky right now, and he has Mars square his Saturn in this chart too. Mark, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're up talking.
yeah, one thing that we can all do in dealing with this guy is keep looking for clarity, because Neptune is really, and Pisces both are doing a number, and we can easily project onto him things that we think he should be doing or is doing, but our projections are just as dangerous as what he projects outward.
Right.
So, we have to be careful of that tendency,
Yeah.
because we can make him be something just because it's what it is to us.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think,
Neptune
yeah,
angular is a tricky one because the person does get a lot of, but they also can do their magic and turn it on and project stuff out.
Yeah.
Which he did. I mean, he attracted Donald. His sun and his Venus are on Donald's sun in Gemini, and he's got Donald's moon is on his Neptune. So
hmm
um, there's a very
they live
strong
out each other's fantasies.
about each other's fantasies of who the other person is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yep. So
You
with
can see
that,
he's in the hot seat, though. That's a hot seat chart right now. Yeah.
yep.
And his moon is at 2 more months. His sun goes into Leo,
Right. And
so he
it's going to
gets a
be, so
whole
he's
different life.
not, he's going to be even more performative then, I
Mhm.
think.
Yes.
But we'll see what after that, what he does. Um, in, and on to some of the personal charts. Here is
Yay!
Leslie.
I got an email from somebody saying, "I love you guys doing this. It's so great."
Oh, how
I
wonderful.
was gonna forward it. It's on my list. I've got this big to do list, which I haven't done yet, but I was gonna send it to you. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And then I thought I should send it to Heather and Mark, and then you know, life carried me away.
It's so easy to do.
Mm,
And I am trying to find, so
Leslie's question.
Leslie asks, um, pretty tough last few years in terms of health, community, and partnership. Living in Madison, Wisconsin, from that area,
Mhm.
and was born not far away in Chicago. So we want to talk to her about who she is and what's going on with her. She's had a tough couple of years, she says,
Yeah.
and
Saturn and Pisces through your sixth house, Leslie. That's what did it. I had that
mm-hmm,
too. You know.
mm, and so Leslie's tri-wheel, again, when we deal with that, she's at the very dark of the moon in a progressed new moon.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
she's in the last 5 months of a 30-year cycle.
Yeah.
There's a whole new cycle that's starting up, and this cycle will be with the sun and moon, new moon in Taurus, which was much more conducive to your natal Pisces sun, much more stable and less uproarious as the last 30 years may have been for you. So I'm looking forward to that. This week may be busy as Mars hits her natal moon. As it's passing through, won't necessarily last on. Just watch those tempers and that impatience.
Right.
Pluto is about to start talking to your chart, but not quite yet. So it's asking you to start thinking about what makes your life important to you, what makes it worthwhile, what really matters to you, and drop what doesn't and move into that. What else do you see, Anne?
I think that the Mercury and the Venus and the Juno rule her ascendant in Virgo and rule
Mm-hmm.
her
Mm-hmm.
direction, and so that's going to be getting the trine from Pluto and the Uranus conjunction. Which natally being a baby of the '60s, you have that. It's a little wide in your chart; they're 10 degrees apart, so you were kind of before everything really heated up. But this is the time when those 12th house planets, which are like this last bit of time you've been submerged with health things, this is when those planets are going to want to show up in creativity and in writing or in sending information out into the world. And with the new Saturn Neptune conjunction, this can be very nice for you in terms of like, okay, what makes me happy? Because Saturn and Neptune are on your Athena in the seventh. So I would look at it
Mhm,
as
mhm.
once we have that conjunction in February, you'll also have had your progressed moon, and natally Saturn and Neptune work together. So one of the things I know I learned, you can see your progressed ascendant's about to get off your Neptune too. One of the things I learned by being sick was how much I liked my health.
Mm.
That's something that's part of what you're probably going through, and also that you have to do work you believe in, or you have to do things you believe in. So what is it you believe in, and
Right.
use that as a foundation to figure out how you want to start, because your health stuffs are over, that's good, but also there's also a little residual that you're like, oh, because you're still cleaning up stuff with the note of fate going through that sixth house. You're
And
not,
you've got
you're
and
still
yeah.
getting your energy, getting your mojo back,
Oh,
really.
you were born with the sun opposed Pluto in the houses of health. So those ongoing issues about, do you want to live? Like you may have been given several chances out in your lifetime which says you could leave if you want to. But it's just past peak when you were born. It really is about what makes life worth living. Here, go for the gusto. You're still healing a lot of it. It looks like, I would say, traumatic other lives and coming in not necessarily feeling safe in
Mm-hmm.
this world and needing to kind of find new ways of creating safety for yourself, which
Mm-hmm.
I think are going to be important.
Yeah.
Pluto trining your Mercury that in progressed Mercury, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's will really help you with that
Yeah.
finding purpose. Mark, what are you seeing?
Yeah, and look for people who encourage you to find your purpose. Be they're there, they're around you, and you often don't notice them, or you think there's someone else, either that will help you or won't help you. And in fact, they're ready to help you, but you need to reach out. So give yourself a little pat on the back and let that move you forward.
That's good.
And also with the Mercury, all those planets in Gemini, if you hear something two times, even if the first time you go, nah, you hear it again, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Gemini planets are saying, take a chance on me, take a chance, take a chance, take a chance. There's a song, it's a
Yeah.
ABBA song, I think. So play that song when you're feeling a little overwhelmed. Take a chance on me. Only in your case, take a chance on, I'm going to take a chance on myself, as opposed to, uh, you know, so that energy is big. That energy is big.
Hmm. And just kind of, yes, this has been a karma slogging earlier part of life, but it
Yeah.
feels like you're about ready to start a new kind of more
Mhm.
stable cycle that can be based more in health and security and creativity.
And finding work you really find joy in.
Yep. 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 So next one, Rebecca, and she would like to know when the condo should sell, when I should relaunch my YouTube channel, coaching business, and a move to Savannah, Georgia. I have a copy of her chart there and in Savannah, Georgia also ready to roll. So, launching her website, that's a good question. She's got a lot of planets hitting that Mars on the cusp of the third in
Mm-hmm.
the springtime. And I have a feeling that that will be, Saturn and Neptune on a Mars, it's really ready to launch this next chapter of
Mm-hmm.
her work. And let's go to, does anyone comment on her natal chart before we
Well, I
look?
think the coaching is good with the Saturn and the Sun in the 11th. Those are natural houses of
Hmm.
coaching, and also with got a good intuitive sense. Tend to self doubt a little bit, and right now Saturn's opposite your Jupiter in Virgo and Neptune. So I would definitely wait until we get to the Saturn Neptune conjunction
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
February.
And
I mean, you can work on it and get it all ready and do a lot of side work, but that I would wait until Saturn finishes with that Jupiter of yours.
hmm
And
I agree.
you have a tendency to wait until things are really stable, but
Mm,
it's it's better to create the stability rather than wait for it.
right.
It's especially with your sun and moon squaring each other
Mm,
in your natal chart. There's always a sense that things could fall apart.
right. Well,
But
drift
you
away.
But they won't fall apart.
no, and you've got your progressed sun in Libra in the ninth house of broadcasting and education. Right, you know, your progressed moon right now steadily. Your Saturn and Neptune, when it gets off the Jupiter, it hits your says like put form into your desires and your ambitions. So I see lots of good stuff coming up with that, with like time to take action, whether or
Mhm,
not you decide to, how you decide it. And I wanted to show you were thinking of moving to Savannah, Georgia. And this is Savannah down here, and
mhm,
this is Colorado Springs, and you're living not that far off the Colorado Springs lines at the moment. So, what I liked about moving you to Savannah, Georgia, was the and you know, with Saturn and Neptune sitting on your moon, it might have felt like stuck for a while, but it gives you that Aquarius rising, which is going to be interested in the whole world. A little
mhm.
less, it puts your sun up in the house of career and Saturn right on your midheaven. And you know, the Pluto on the seventh, if you're trying to work with other people, it may not be so good. But if you're really kind of self-originated work, which is what it looks like with both Venus and Mars ruled signs, uh, then it looks like Savannah, Georgia is an improvement. What do you see, Anne, comparing those
Well,
two
yeah, I
charts?
would agree with you there with the Pluto in the seventh, but she wants to do coaching, so that's also working with people and taking them in the depths. Remo decided to join for
Mm-hmm,
your
mm-hmm.
reading, Rebecca.
Oh,
So
good.
is whenever he shows up, there's something going on underneath that I'm always like, all right, what are you seeing, Remo? What are you feeling? Um, and he's like,
Mm-hmm,
he's over here
mm-hmm,
going, yeah,
mm-hmm,
like did you notice that, Mom? So so I like Georgia a little bit better. It's a little easier for you, and also with Uranus going into Gemini, it's going to really accelerate stuff in terms of your third house of communication and getting stuff out there. And of
mm-hmm,
course,
mm-hmm.
Uranus is on your south node, which is why I want to move. I want to relocate. So I like Georgia for you a little better, as long as you're working that as long as you're working the Pluto in positive triangles. And it is trying to the Mercury, but it is quincunx the Mars. So it's also like, how are you gonna feel about the way it shows up? Is probably
Mm-hmm.
the best way to say it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also partnering. There's a finger of God with the Pluto to the Juno and the Mars, so that's helpful too in terms of getting stuff launched. I mean, you've got that natally too, but the natal Pluto's in the eighth house, which is I make my money in incremental work. Virgo is
Mm-hmm.
royalties or things, so there's also some good energy in this chart with the Sag and the Mercury emphasis for writing and leaving a legacy with those planets in the eighth house, like a book or something like that. Mark, what do you see?
Yeah, and that works with the Pisces moon as well.
Yeah.
You can really tune. It might help you to write about other people,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
Okay.
write for other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Come here. Come
So those all look good. I think we've hit the end of our time tonight. And Mark, would you like? We're going to bring up our chart again this week. There's a lot of new beginnings kicking in. People are gearing up, picking up threads they dropped at the end of October, early November, and even farther back in the springtime. So we're
March.
picking up
When
those
Saturn was
pieces.
there.
Yeah. So pick up things that you started last spring and had to drop in the fall, and where we've come back in many ways with that Saturn and Neptune reviewing the Pisces. We kick into higher gear in the springtime when they go back into Aries. I
Mm-hmm.
have a feeling, our president's working hard to get us into a war, and I'm hoping he does not. So we work
It's
with
that
that.
it's the Saturn Neptune in Aries. A lot of people are going. It's for the oil. which is what we did back with
Mhm. Mhm.
The Iraq War with Cheney. So
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Somebody asked, when is the moon void? A request from you, Anne?
the moon is not void. It's only void for like 3 minutes tomorrow.
Okay, good.
It goes into Gemini. It goes out of Gemini. It goes void whenever um, it hits the last degree. So the moon hits the Uranus,
Mhm.
and then it
Mhm.
trines the Neptune, which is like 2 minutes. 20 minutes, 40 minutes. So like it goes right into Gemini. So there's no void moon really tomorrow. It's just a big shift.
And
Good.
in Gemini,
That Mars is out of bounds, and he's squaring the Saturn Neptune, so that's a hard energy, and that's the contempt, the cantankerous, like I'm leaving. Mark, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yep.
yeah, the moon after it goes into Gemini, it's on its way to a full moon. So we have a full
Mm.
moon in Gemini,
Mm-hmm.
and you might pay attention to that and look and see where in your chart the uh, the late degrees of Gemini and
I think,
Sagittarius are.
yeah, I think the moon's 13 and change. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it would be full of 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's 13 Gemini and 13 Sagittarius in your chart?
Mhm. Yeah, and think back to March 2nd, because it was the opening quarter, and then think back to the Gemini moon on June 2nd of 2024, because it was all at the same degree. This is the full moon from June 2nd of 24, and from Pisces time, uh, March 2nd of 2025.
And we got a question about Jupiter in Virgo and what's the good part of Jupiter in Virgo? And I would say
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter axis, where do we expand? What opens our world? What do we do in excess? And the Jupiter in Virgo can be a real gift.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about it?
Well, I always like to look at what Mercury's doing, right? Because
Right.
Jupiter, he's gonna turn to Mercury and say what's going on, and Mercury's gonna say this is what we're doing. So normally they're buddies, so they work well together. And so depending on what sign Mercury is, flavors the Jupiter and Virgo. So he's not consistent in his attention to detail. So sometimes it can come across very picky, but other times it's got an incredible sense of design and art and architecture. Because Virgo is so much about how we communicate. It's excellent storyteller. Some of our
Mhm.
favorite writers have Jupiter and Virgo. Um,
Details can set you free
Details set you free, but also they
and
outline
healing.
they outline the book. It's like when you read
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
Hobbit or any of those the Twilight books or J.K. Rowling. They had the whole outline of what's going to happen, and you go back to the beginning, and that's it's kind of all outlined there. So that ability to do that is a gift of Jupiter and Virgo, but it can sometimes be a little paralyzed by being afraid of success.
Mhm.
Because it's like,
Mhm.
well, if I'm successful, what happens if I don't duplicate it? Because it tends to worry rather than if it can live in the process and it can honor the worry, write the worry down and say, okay, I'll make a plan to solve it, as opposed to running with, it tends to have a little bit of a gerbil brain, is what I call it. The little gerbils running in the wheel. You know, so
Yeah.
it's
When you
not a
notice
bad
when you
Jupiter in any
notice
sign is not a bad placement, but it's a little fussy. You know.
when you notice that happening, just
Mhm.
give it away. Anything that you are having trouble managing, give it to someone else. You can even put a bow around it and say,
Mhm.
"Here you go. I can't work with this, but I think you can."
And we're seeing it a little bit now because every couple of days we have Jupiter exalted in Cancer, but every couple of days it changes. Right now it's ruled by Taurus in its exaltation. It's going to go into Gemini. Moon's going to go into Gemini and make that Jupiter in Cancer be very, a little nudgy and a little worried about things and a little make mistakes and have to do everything twice. And then it's going to go into Cancer. It's going to be really happy. Then it's going to go into Leo and it's a little, I can do whatever I want. So what you want to watch is whenever a planet's not in its own sign, you want to look at who it rules and how fast those planets change. So, like in the case of the moon, every 2.5 days. In the case of Mercury, it's every 3 weeks you get a new Jupiter. for all of your life. So you have projects in piles. A lot of Jupiter and Virgo have projects in piles or boxes because they save everything. And then they're working on that project and they work on it for 3 weeks and then they're kind of like bored, done, and they go on to the next because Mercury has shifted signs. And the message that Jupiter's getting from Mercury is no, don't do that, do this. So Jupiter and Virgo can be the sign of unfinished projects.
So, Mark, what do you see in the chart of the moment that you think you would like to lead us in a small meditation on our way out?
Just take a moment to reflect for yourself on what this full moon will bring. So think of Gemini and Sagittarius and how you can work with them. See if that's an energy that you take too easily or if there are some lessons for you to learn from them.
On Thursday.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark.
On Jupiter's day.
Mm-hmm.
He's in charge of the sun. Yeah.
Wonderful. And so this is Heather Rowan Robbins signing off from Montana. And
Mark Wolf saying goodbye from New York City. We'll see you next week.
And Ann Ortley here in Florida. About to go have my leftover pot pie.
okay.
It is a moon in Taurus day.
All right.
Good food is good for us. You
Good
take
food.
care.
Yeah, you guys
Bye.
too. Happy day. Happy, what is it? Giving